of Aulë and Yavanna. I saw that in the ancient years of the Blessed Realm, before the coming of the elves, the Valar dwelt in peace beneath the mingled light of the two trees. Yet even among them, the desire to create burned bright, for each carried within them a spark of the flame imperishable, though it belonged to Ilúvatar alone. Among all the Valar, none loved the substance of the world more deeply than Aulë, the Maker. He was the master of all crafts, the smith of the Valar, and in his hands the very bones of Arda took shape. Mountains, gems, and the secret fires that sleep in the heart of stone. Yet in his heart there stirred a restlessness that even Valinor's beauty could not still, for all his spirit was quick to create, and his joy was in the making of things new. Long he had labored beside Yavanna, his spouse, shaping the world together. He the forger of its form, she the giver of its growth. But as he looked upon the fair lands of Arda, silent and waiting, he said in the secret of his heart, "Many ages shall pass before the children of Ilúvatar awaken. Yet I would have learners and helpers with whom to share the craft of my hands, to whom I may teach the forging of stone and the secrets of substance. For my labor is lonely, and my works lie idle without minds to understand them." So Aulë took thought within himself, and began a work of great secrecy. In a hall beneath the mountains of Valinor, he shaped from the earth the first of the Dwarves, 7 fathers of stout form and strong spirit. He taught them to speak, and they moved before him, stammering in the new tongue he had devised. They were unlovely to behold by the standards of the Valar, short and broad, with beards like woven metal and eyes that gleamed like stars on granite. Yet Aulë loved them, for they were the children of his thought. But he had not the power to give them true life, for the flame imperishable, the power of creation itself, resides only with Ilúvatar, who alone can awaken souls. And Ilúvatar, perceiving what Aulë had done, spoke suddenly to him. Then Aulë heard a voice, divine and solemn, and it seemed to fill all the air of his forge, though none else was near. Ilúvatar said, "Why hast thou done this, Aulë? Why dost thou attempt a thing which thou knowest lies beyond thy power? For I have not kindled thee with the flame imperishable, that thou shouldst make beings of thine own. Is the desire of creation now to turn to pride, that thou wouldst rival me?" Aulë bowed his head, and shame covered him like ash. Long he was silent, for the words pierced him like molten iron. But at last he answered in sorrow. Aulë said, "Not for pride, Lord, nor for power did I make them. The desire to create is my gift from thee, and in my heart it has grown beyond my will. I did not wish to usurp thy glory, but to share in the joy of making, for the long waiting wearies me, and I longed for companions in the labor of my hands." Then he took up a hammer in grief and lifted it over the Dwarves, for he would destroy his work rather than keep it against the will of Ilúvatar. "Behold," he said, "the creatures of my folly. Forgive me, my lord." But before the hammer could fall, the voice of Ilúvatar spoke again, filled with both sternness and pity. Ilúvatar said, "Thy humility has redeemed thy error. For I accept thy offering, and in compassion I will breathe into these thy children a life of their own, yet not now, nor before the firstborn awaken. They shall sleep until the time appointed, and then shall they arise and serve my designs, not thine. And this shalt thou know, that none in Ea can make a living soul save I alone." Then Aulë's hammer fell from his hands, and he wept. And as he looked upon the Dwarves, he saw them move upon their own accord, trembling and afraid, for they were aware of the voice that had spoken. And Aulë marveled, for his craft had been taken up and sanctified by Ilúvatar himself. So the Dwarves were laid to rest in the deep places of the world, until the coming of the elves. And thus were they called the Aulë folk, the Khazad, who in after ages would delve the halls of stone and shape wonders beneath mountains. But when Yavanna learned of what had passed, she was troubled. For she had walked alone in the groves of Valinor, and thought deeply on what her husband had done. She came to Manwë and spoke in sorrow. Yavanna said, "Aulë has made creatures strong and unyielding, whose delight shall be in stone and ore. When they wake, they will need wood to burn, and they will fell trees without thought. Shall not my forests suffer? Will not my green things be laid low by the children of his hands? Then Manwë pondered her words and turned his thought to Ilúvatar, seeking wisdom. And a voice answered him in the wind.
Do not fear, Yavanna, for all things that have life shall have their part in the music.
When the children of Ilúvatar awaken, some shall hold your works dear and guard them from destruction. Even the dwarves shall find value in the things that grow. And know this, I will awaken spirits that shall go among the trees and protect them from the axe and the fire. Then Yavanna's heart was lightened, and she said, Then let these guardians be fair and terrible, swift as sunlight and strong as the roots of mountains. Let them be the shepherds of the trees. And so it was that the Ents came into the world, the oldest of all living things that speak, born of Yavanna's thought and Ilúvatar's grace. They were mighty beings, tall as towers and slow in thought but deep in wisdom, the memory of the forest made flesh. Thus from the hearts of the Valar, one longing to shape the other to preserve, came forth two races that would walk beneath the stars in ages to come. The Dwarves, children of craft and stone, and the Ents guardians of leaf and limb. And so was revealed once more the mercy of Ilúvatar, who weaves even the errors of the mighty into the harmony of his design.